Warning, this radio program has been rated R for ridiculous. All listeners must be accompanied by their spirit guides.
You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio.
This is Haunted Voices. Join your host, Todd Bates, as he takes you on a journey into the unknown. Haunted Voices Radio. It's a trip into the unknown. Chat with us live where even more interaction is provided. And now, here's your host and founder, Todd Bates.
And a good evening, one and all. Holy Mary, Mother of Ghostly Activity. Do we have an amazing show planned for you tonight on this beautiful April the 10th, 2018. Time is flying by. This month is already sweeping by here. It's insane. It's insane. But those of you that are in chat, congratulations, you made the cut. And those of you that want to get in there, just now tuning in, you can do so right there at letstalkradio.net. That's letstalkradio.net. Sign in through Facebook, Twitter, as a guest. Either way, just get your dairy ears in there. Because we're going to be talking with none other than Martha Decker. She's going to be joining us here. She's been on the show several times in the past. We got a lot of catching up to do with her. And of course, second hour, we've got Linda Hill. We're going to talk about haunting. She lives in a haunted house. But Martha has a story of her own, and she is a force to be reckoned with out there, folks. I'll tell you what. Now, she's been involved in investigating paranormal activity since 1999. As a child, Decker experienced a number of unexplained occurrences, which triggered her long-time interest in the unknown. Now, she retired in 2007 from law enforcement as Assistant Chief of Police. So those of you listening now that are in any trouble, everything's okay. Negotiator, detective, and instructor. She founded East Texas Paranormal in 2007. Now, ETP often investigates private homes and businesses. Decker has professional experience as an investigator, criminally and civilly. Also, as a writer and photographer. Now, she had several of her photographs included in the Big Click Coffee Table book. Then in 1995, Decker received a First Place Award for specially reporting from Associated Press. Now, she decided to delve back to writing and photography and is working another nonfiction book with writingforexaminer.com as Dallas Paranormal. Now, she has articles in the Realm Paranormal magazine and other websites, and Decker has two blogs as well, one on the paranormal and the other on life after 50. You're going to love our next guest. Welcome back to Haunted Voices Radio. It's great to have you.
It's great to be here.
It's been a long time.
Yes, it has, and now that blog is Life After 60.
Life after 60. That's okay.
It may get more interesting.
You are still kicking it, Martha. And,
yes, I am.
You know, in the past, you and I have talked about so many different things, and we're going to get into this tonight as well, about your investigation experience, your protocols, your methods, and how law enforcement helped you with those methods. So many things for you and I to discuss. But everyone has that particular ghost story. What's yours?
Oh, I have no idea.
Which one stands out in your mind? What got your gears going to get into this field and dive into it and form this team? What made everything happen?
Probably things that have happened to me since I was about 3 or 4. I've had odd things happen to me. I've had the experience of this dark, solid shadow figure that I've seen throughout my childhood off and on. And actually, the last time I probably remember it was about 19 years old when it's about, my best description of it is the way you would imagine a druid. tall, sort of monkish with the cape on, coming down the hall and into my room when I moved from Tennessee to Dallas, where my parents were. I moved there about a year after they did, and there was 2 nights in a row that I watched this figure come into that room, and that room had, I was there for just a couple months, and there were two bunk beds, 2 twin beds in there, and it would sit on the one by the door facing the door. And that's one of the weird experiences. I when I saw it, I never felt fear. I wouldn't say I felt comfort, but I felt safety. Like it was there for protection. But, all these years, it's like, what the heck was that? Because I don't have a clue. It's just totally bizarre to me. I don't know what that is. And, of course, I don't go around asking everybody, what do you think that is? And someday maybe it'll be revealed, but not yet.
One day. But you had that caution in the back of your mind, that skepticism, which is good in this field, because that way you're not naive. You're not going out there, ooh, that house looks spooky. I bet it's haunted. You can get really naive in this field really easy, right?
You can, but let me tell you, I do that as I drive around a lot in the professional booking. Everybody has that house they pass by and go,
oh, jeez. I can see you. I can see you doing it. You're pulling over the car, taking a picture. Yeah, this looks haunted. Okay, I mean.
Oh, yeah, and I do take pictures. Or either that or I think it's somebody, creepy maybe living there. It's one of the two.
Do you get like a gut feeling? Do you think you're intuitive at all?
Yeah, I am. I finally realized that gut feeling is intuitive, empathic, and it's something that I've used my whole life, and I just, never really attributed it to that up until about 5 years ago, and then I don't generally run around and say I'm this or I'm that. It's just that feeling I get, and I, it's like, if I'm going to somewhere that has some activity, I can feel when there's a presence there of sorts, just like I can feel like when it's gone. I can feel when it's not, it's a little more dark, or if it's real peaceful. You can go into some place with activity, has activity, and sometimes it feels like you're just, walking into the most peaceful place, and you think, oh, good, maybe they're going to play with me tonight while I'm out, wandering around the hotel or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah,
and I've had, I've had that same, the feeling's like, ooh, something doesn't want me to go down that hall. You can feel the heaviness.
Yeah, and see, I don't feel, I'm as sensitive as a brick. I mean, I had a feeling like that a few times. It just turned out to be gas. But, the thing is my gut feeling going into these places is I'm strictly scientific. Do you feel that you're the same way? I mean, do you kind of, we're going to get into your team and how everything banded and everything got together, but these investigations that you go on, do you use a lot of that gut feeling, or do you practice some scientific protocol as well?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay. Yeah.
Both. Because that gut feeling is what kept me safe was a street cop for many years too. Still keeps me safe as, a process server. Every day I'm going down these county roads, and maybe the houses are so far back you can't even see them from the street. And even when it's in the city, you never know what's behind that door.
And with this is what
to that same.
What intrigued me last time you were on was your protocol, Martha, and how you used your past law enforcement training with these investigations, and I kind of want to touch on that. And first of all, before we touch on that, your team. How did you guys all meet? Did you put feelers out? Did you, flyers, things of that nature, or did things just come together for you to form the team?
Well, there's been a number of people through the years come and go from the team. At one time, it was all law enforcement, but one volunteer firefighter, and everybody was either current, active or had been in law enforcement. And now it's much more of a loose-knit team. I have a lot of good contacts and people that will work with me. So depending on what it is, I will work with different people. We, Kim Reisinger, Ruth Coffey, and I team up on a lot of things. And then Vicki Higdon, she's the only one who lives near me. And all three of those people are part Native American. And so if there's anything I may need some type of Native American something, Ruth is wonderful at doing blessings and working with the darker stuff. And that was my specialty at one point. And so it just all depends on where it is and what it is. Maria Santos, if it's something that may be voodoo, hoodoo, Santeria, hey Maria, if it's maybe UFO type stuff, it's I'll contact Dave or Jane Nelms because that's their specialty. So there's several of us in the group, and we all kind of have our own specialties, and it just depends on what it is.
And having a Native American on the team, that would also assist if you guys perhaps wanted to investigate a sacred burial ground. Have you done that with her?
No, we haven't done that yet, but we've gone out into some different areas. And I have property up in far northeast Texas that, the Caddo Indians thousands of years ago were all around this part of Texas. And there's Caddo Indian burial grounds, state park. But I think there may be some out on the property I have, about 100 miles from where I live. And eventually, we're going to get out there eventually and see what we can find out there and just kind of investigate on my property.
Okay. Yeah, because there's, with that, having a Native American on the team, it is an asset in many ways because they have different beliefs, different cultures than what most of us do, and those can really help during an investigation. And you getting the team formed and getting out there, let's get into some protocol here, Martha. This is what blew me away every time you and I talk. The way you practice it's impeccable. It's amazing what you do out there. So you have the team together, and let's say you get a call. It's a private residence, and they're saying that they have some poltergeist activity. Some things are being thrown at them. They're finding keys and objects missing, toothpicks in the ice cube trays, things of that nature.
That's my house.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, film at 11, folks. Film at 11.
Right.
What would be your protocol from an investigative background that you have? What would be your protocol to approach that from start to finish? How would you approach that client and interview them and so forth?
Well, when they call me, and with it being East Texas Paranormal, you do a Google search and for somebody and you live in East Texas, it's like, which would pop up. And we talk on the phone, but half the time I'm out on the road when I'm talking to them. So our first protocol is an email. I want an email with all the detail. I want their name. I want their phone number, and I want their full address. And that's so that I can, pass it among whoever's going to help with this if we do. And if they don't send the email, I may send them something, or however they contacted me, I may send them one like, hey, were you going to? Because almost everybody, it sounds like it's really bad when they call. And if they don't reply, well, we just move on because we're all busy. But if we do get the email, it gets sent to whoever is going to assist me on that. And from there, I will make contact with them to arrange for a full-length interview in person. And we take 2, maybe 3 of us, but always at least 2 people for our safety, because you're walking into their environment and you don't know if, necessarily if they're mentally stable or not.
Good point.
And, you don't go in assuming that they're telling lies, but you don't go in believing everything they say. You go in unbiased. And I got used to doing that a long time ago when I was a journalist, and of course, that transferred over into law enforcement and everything else. And maybe not so much for journalism today, for some, but it was back in the days where I once got a letter from the county judge, you know, a letter of appreciation for how accurate my stories were of like county commissioner's court and all that sort of stuff. And the easy way to remain that way is to just quote them when they say their silly things. But anyway, we you know, do a full length interview, and when we interview them, we record it both digitally and with audio and you know, we do both video, audio and video.
Uh-huh.
And then we can go back and review that. We will also, you know, the big question is asking them something about paranormal, like, do you watch the TV shows? I have found that through the years, the people who say we watch everything, the least little noise in their house is paranormal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, and so that yeah, and most of those have turned out to be nothing but big, vivid imaginations. Now,
with interviewing them,
go ahead.
With interviewing them during the interview process. Now, do you kind of repeat the questions in different ways to see if you can catch them in a lie or two? Well,
the first thing we do is we have somebody who's taking notes. And like I would have someone taking notes while I'm doing the interviewing, because I want to watch their demeanor, and, you know, it's more than just body language. You want to watch everything and listen to them. And you ask them some questions, but you also ask them to tell them what's going on, you know, for them to tell you what's going on. And you just leave that initially that's one of the first things I'll get to, is, you know, tell me what's going on. Because I want to know about the incident that they called about, or the incidences. And how they begin that tells me a lot. One of the things I was certified in was statement analysis, and how to do non-accusatory questionnaires to determine who the suspect is if it's with a large group. Mm-hmm. So I use that a lot during my interview process. You know, I don't direct them into any direction initially, and let them tell their story, and we get their story through, and then I will go back and ask them to clarify things, and then I will get into all the questions. Most important is if they give you a generic answer, like, or statement like, you know, it's a mean ghost. Well, what does that mean? Because mean or nice or scary can mean something different to many different people. You know, like I had a lady call with a criminal mischief, and she was in her mid to late 80s. And when I asked her to describe the people, because she saw the two guys, she says, oh, you know, it was a couple of young guys. Well, in my mind, when I'm in my 40s, probably when she said this, I'm thinking, you know, late teens, early 20s. So I asked her, you know, about what age. Mm-hmm. Her young age is they're like in their 50s. Well, she says, I'm 85. You know, they're youngsters to me. And, you know, and who's going to think of 50s as youngsters, except for maybe somebody that's really old. So, you know, so it's really important, whatever they say, if it's a fairly broad or generic type description, is to get them to go into detail. Because you need that detail, because otherwise you're going to put your assumption of what it is on their statement.
Right.
And it may be incorrect.
Now, Go ahead. Because we have a break here in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I want to finish. I want you to finish with this because, of course, when we come back, I want to discuss the difference when interviewing juveniles.
Okay.
You know,
okay. And then the other thing is you go into all the typical who, what, where, when, type questions. We tell them to keep a journal. And you go into their medical history. You go into their criminal history. And because all of that can play a part into that, and by obtaining their information, their full name, their full address, you can do some research as well. We check their social media. You can check them, you Google their names, Google their address. There's all sorts of things you can do because people don't always tell you the truth, sometimes because they're hiding something, sometimes just because they're embarrassed. And you're trying to build a good rapport with them, a good trust with them, so that they will tell you things that, they wouldn't normally tell somebody. And, but then also to be able to kind of, check for deception as well, because there's a lot of people that just want to be on TV. So if a team can say, oh, you're haunted, then they'll go, try to be on TV. And the same thing goes with commercial properties as well.
Everybody's trying to get famous out there with this stuff, and it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. And you folks, sit back, stay tuned. Those of you just tuning in, join us in chat. Let'sTalkRadio.net. Just log in there through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Go ahead and meet and greet everybody that's in there. Got some great conversations going on in there. So be sure, join us in chat. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how Martha interviews juveniles and how this can benefit the client interview process and the investigation itself. So stay tuned. Haunted Voices Radio coming up next.
Of all the radio stations in the world, we're one of them. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Let's talk. Coming soon with your support. Preacher 6 is a small-town preacher that is summoned to the big city where he ends up fighting evil in a literal sense. The characters that he meets along the journey are something special and unique. They could all have their own films made about them. If you like original content that is driven by action and amazing writing, you must support the film Preacher 6. No remakes, redos, sequels, or do-overs for us. Let's take film back. If you like Quentin Tarantino-type films, then you will love Preacher 6. Preacher 6 is like Taxi Driver meets Sin City meets The Prophecy. So please be a part of something awesome. Sometimes darkness just needs a few well-placed bullets. Preacher 6. Support this new film at Indiegogo.com and search Preacher 6. That's Indiegogo.com, Preacher 6. Support it, and let's take film back. Terry Lovelace is a 64-year-old retired lawyer and former assistant attorney general. The earliest alien experience Terry can recall was when he was 8 years old. Incident at Devil's Den. In May of 1963, he saw a UFO and described it as a perfect silver disc. 3 years later, on a clear night, he saw a second flying disc outside his second-story bedroom window. Incident at Devil's Den. In 1975, while serving as a medic in the Air Force, he witnessed yet another UFO hovering 50 feet over an ICBM missile silo. Incident at Devil's Den. 2 years later, while he and a friend were camped in an isolated state park known as Devil's Den, Terry had a life-changing fourth encounter. Not only did Terry and a friend witness an estimated 5-story high UFO, but this fourth encounter would be an epic, life-altering event. Incident at Devil's Den by Terry Lovelace. Digital download or paperback now available on Amazon. If you call other talk stations, all you get is,
"Hello, we're sorry, but no one is available to answer your call at this time."
But at Let's Talk Radio, we're here for the best talk, news, and information 24 hours a day. Hear it here first or find out about the alien invasion tomorrow from someone else. Depend Depend on us. Let'sTalkRadio.net.
23 minutes past the hour. Haunted Voices Radio live. Let'sTalkRadio.net. Welcome to all of you that just got the kids put down to bed. Finally got some quiet time. Join us in chat. We're going to be having a book giveaway here this segment, so you definitely want to be in the chat room. And you can do so at Let'sTalkRadio.net. Right down there in the lower right corner, you will see where it says live chat. If you cannot see it with those Brady Bunch colors, please disconnect your internet immediately. It's real simple. Log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Just get in there. We're going to have the book giveaway. You have to be in chat to win. It's just for chatters only. A lot of fun coming up here with Martha Mad Dog Decker. Mad Dog Decker. You may want to remember that. Now, we were talking about the client interview process and how she does it differently due to her background in law enforcement. And we've discussed how she interviews and really does the background checks on these clients. Social media, criminal, you name it, which is good. You have to get down there. You've got to dig in deep with these people. They could be loony. They could be off their meds. You don't know. So you've got to play it safe out there. You're going into somebody else's realm here. So pay attention to what Martha says. She's been there and done that. Trust me. Now, what we're going to be talking about now is a different kind of interview. And this is very interesting to me. And I know you are going to learn a lot about it as well. Interviewing a juvenile. Now, there's a lot of these families, they have kids, and they've seen things too. They've witnessed them firsthand. They're sleeping with mom and dad. They're horrified. They don't know what to do. So how would us as researchers interview someone of that age, and how would it be different? Welcome back, Martha. How would it be different to interview a juvenile, and what's this process all about?
Well, with juveniles, especially young ones, when they get into the teenage, it's pretty much about the same as the adults. But the young children, because depending on their articulation, you may be able to talk to a 2 or 3 year old as well. So it's important with the young ones to kind of establish that they know the difference between truth and lies. So that is something that we call the truth-lie authentication. And you do that by building some rapport with the kids. You ask them if they know what the difference is, because I've had kids that are like 6, 7 years old, and they don't know what the difference is. Mm-hmm. So if they don't know, that's you can quickly teach them the difference. You can look at the shirt they're wearing, and after you've established that they know colors, if they don't know colors, then you could use like a piece of furniture. But say with colors, you say they have a green shirt on, you'd say, well, are you wearing, what if I said you were wearing a purple shirt? Would that be true, or would that be a lie? Mm. And then will say, well, that would be a lie. And then you go, so if I said it's, I forget what color I said, so we'll say it's a green shirt. So then I say, well, if I say it's a green shirt, is that a truth or is that a lie? And they go, that's true. And then it'd be like, well, why is it true? It said, because it is a green shirt. And you can do several things like that to make them understand, and they want to please. So you want to make sure that they know it's okay to tell you that they don't know something. You ask them open-ended questions. You don't want to ask them a closed-ended, like yes, no, initially, because they're gonna make up something if they have to. And the whole point is to try to make them understand that they can just tell you they don't know something, and that they're not in trouble if they seem a little scared. It doesn't hurt to ask them if they know why you're there. You just say, well, do you know why we're here today? And that's an open-ended question. And so they'll tell you, and you can ask them, well, did anybody, if they say, well, my mom told me you were coming, and then you ask them, well, what did she say? Because we all know there have been kids in the news famously through the years for big acts of deception, like, blowing away in a balloon, for example. Yeah. I can't think of that kid's name from years ago, but so what happens? So they'll do things through the, after 20 some odd years of watching forensic interviews at the child advocacy centers. Parents have given them money. They hardly ever say they said, to tell the truth. A lot of times they'll be there with like dollar bills in their hands, but it's like before they start their interview, well, where'd that come from? Oh, mom gave that to me to whatever. So, you want to kind of ferret all that out. And when you get to the interview process about what's going on, a good question to use, that a lot of these are the forensic interview questions, but they can be applied to the paranormal interview. For example, you can ask them, who lives in the house? And they may name off the people who live in the house, but they could quite possibly name off somebody or some being that, doesn't really live there.
Right.
So that's a good way to, find out something. And then when you want to know, like, what's going on possibly with somebody they named, you go through, well, okay, you named your mother, your father, and and you establish, well, who is this? That's my brother. Who is that? My sister. Well, who is that? And then they'll tell you who that person is that's not actually living there. You can ask them questions like, oh, what is your most favorite thing? And you adjust how you ask that according to age. Like, what's your most favorite thing about your mother? These are questions I used to ask the kids when I was trying to find out about, any kind of abuse that had occurred. Then I would ask, well, what's your least favorite? Because they don't want to, say anything, bad about a parent. You're getting into that loyalty and everything, and you want them to tell you. And when you say it in a way such as that, they don't feel like they're betraying anybody. So as you, do that with a parent or two, then you go to that person that doesn't, live there. It's like you ask them the exact same question, and they may tell you about, like, what's your least favorite, and that's how you can find out about what may be going on. You can also ask them if there is anybody who makes them feel unsafe, uncomfortable, or is there somebody they're afraid of? And, those are somewhat of a yes, no there, because you're trying to get specific information. And if they say there is somebody that scares them, and then you would ask them, like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean when you ask them to tell their story? It's like, or what happened? Tell me what happened. And that's all you say, and you let them tell their story. And then the same thing as with adults. After it's over, then you go back and you can get a better idea. Like if they say, give you a description, or you may want to, refine it better. It's like, well, you said it was a man. Well, what does he look like? And, was he big, tall, little? You give them multiple answer type things so that you can narrow it down more. But they may say that there's nothing going on, and their parents may say something totally different. But this is how you interview the children. You just have to kind of, build a rapport, talk about school, talk about their dogs, or talk about a toy or their favorite thing to eat, some kind of thing to get that little connection before you start the interview.
Right. I mean, a lot of them could be horrified to begin with. Plus, I'm sure the parents will have them lie, embellish a story just to get a research team in there so they can get some free Friday night entertainment and so forth. There's been a lot of hoaxes like that with children. So it's good that you pinpoint that. And I'm sure you listening took great notes on that, because there's a lot of private residences that everyone goes to that there's a whole family involved. Now, sometimes, Martha, just the child could be some kind of adolescent poltergeist activity or something of that nature. And they have no idea what's going on, but their parents are coaching them in what to say so they could be on the next television show. So these are things that you sift through during this interview process. And that's a great way to do it. And I hope people took some notes on that. I know I did, because when you're dealing with children, they have such wild, vivid imaginations, but yet they have a tendency to tell the truth. They really do.
and one of the things to really watch, and that's why you have the video camera on them too, and somebody taking some notes, is you want to watch them, because I have seen this over and over. You watch their demeanor. If there's something that's really bad happening there, some of the kids can talk about it okay, but some, their entire demeanor totally changes when you get close to that subject. It's like they become another child. I mean, you can watch their eyes. Yes. And when it gets like that, say they've been really friendly and talkative, and all of a sudden like it's a different child there, there's probably something going on.
Yeah. I mean, this could be just a horrifying experience for a child. And in your opinion, do you feel that they're more open-minded than adults, that they see more things, maybe interact more with the spirit than the adult does?
Yes, I know they do. And I just, from the experience with my 2 granddaughters, I know they do. And some others I've had experience with. And so some of those younger ones, you always have to kind of watch possibly where you take some of those children. Especially if, say, maybe they're autistic or have some different things like that, because they are so much more open to things that are out there. So you want to try to protect them.
Right.
Because they don't know any better. And then you have some kids that are they're just gifted. I've got a friend of mine, her granddaughter didn't know me from Adam. And, I had been retired for a number of years from the police department. Now, I've been told before that people can tell because you just, I guess, have a walk that doesn't ever go away.
Sure.
Or a way you carry yourself. But she looks up at me with her eyes and her big glasses, and she goes, "You're a cop." Just
they clam up. The fuzz is here.
Doesn't know me from anybody.
You're the fuzz.
Exactly. It's like, well, yeah, I used to be, and it hadn't been that many years since I had retired from that.
I can hear him now. Hey, Frank, go do the you-know-what. We got the fuzz here. We've got a quick question here from chat for you, Martha. Boris is asking, when you catch a client lying about or even faking an occurrence, would you say that this always proves the whole case as a hoax? Or could the liar only be desperate for help? Could he or she feel the need to give the audience what they expect while real phenomena stays away for some time? What do you think about that?
Well, I think if they're really desperate for help, they're not going to lie. They're going to tell you the truth because they are desperate. And if you've built up a good enough rapport with them and you've gone in unbiased and non-judgmental, they, feel safe enough to tell you everything. And now the lies could possibly be they cover up some things, because you want to ask them about they're paranormal and what do they do? Like, have you used a Ouija board and different questions like that. Mm-hmm. And maybe they have, but they're going to say no. And, those would be like the type of lies and maybe because some medical. Now, if it's something that I think may be a serious case, one of the things that I require is for them to get medically and mentally evaluated.
Okay. Good.
Because I could get sued if somebody has mental issues that I'm not aware of. Somebody in the family might say I've come and made it worse and I get sued. So y'all always have to remember that vicarious liability when it comes to things like that.
Absolutely.
And I know there's some teams I've talked to them. They just, they want to run in, they want to get their stuff to heck with the family. We want to just go have fun. And and that's not a good thing to do. and you leave the family in lurch. You leave in the family if it is an active place with maybe worse activity than they had before you came. And then I get a call and I have to go clean up somebody's mess, which I've had to do before.
Which you should never have to do.
Yeah.
No, and that's
So
Go ahead, Martha.
I was going to say most of them will lie and make it worse than it is. I find that more with deception when they want to be able to, for whatever reason, and it could be somebody that just wants lots of attention. Because I had one like that. I've had a couple like that, but because they were close and I had time, like Tamara Bricky is another one. She used to live here, but now she's abandoned us and moved to Oklahoma. And we've been over, and you get over there and when you go to do your interview, it never goes beyond the interview because you realize when you're there, this is just somebody who may be housebound or something that was just lonely.
Yeah, they're lonely and they want some company for a little while. But I'm curious about you in chat. Have you ever come across a client interview where your client that you interviewed, those of you that are investigators in chat, have you ever come across one that has lied? And what did you do about it? And also, we've got a book giveaway here, Martha. We got to get this going here before the next break. Tell everybody about your book real quick, and then I'll throw out the question for them.
Okay, well, the book is Paranormal Profiling, and it is about how to interview people with some of our experiences thrown in. Plus, it has in the back pages of the type questions to ask. And I know there's a couple of teams that I know the teams where they actually give that book to their new members to read, which I think is just I really appreciate that, and it's just cool. Fascinating to me. But because it's simple, it's not complicated, and it helps them understand why we try to do a lot of the things that we do.
I mean, the interview process is very important. It is the first step that any researcher is going to take prior to a full investigation. So it's important. And trust me, Martha has been there and done that. And what we're going to do a giveaway here in the chat room. And if you guys are paying attention, you'll be able to answer this question. It's real simple. The first person to answer it correctly wins the copy of the book. And all you have to do is send me your mailing address. I'll put the email address there in the chat room for you. But the question is, what is Martha's nickname? What is her nickname? That's simple. First person to answer that correctly in chat wins a copy of Paranormal Profiling. Now, it's the interview process, like I said, is a very important process. This book is basically an encyclopedia for researchers out there. And that is what drew me to Martha several years ago. She has it's just a top-notch professionalism that she does with these interviews, and she's able to weed out some of these crackpots and really pull this information out of people so the investigator's not going in there blind. It's very important. It's very important. And like she said, she starts off with a simple email, then checks their background, checks for liability flaws. You don't want some schizophrenic that you're out there investigating their home and all of a sudden they start seeing Satan everywhere and sue you. These things can happen. You've got to be careful. You just can't jump into a person's home and just start zapping all your zooms and whams everywhere and expect it all to be rosy. Things could happen. You've got to prepare yourself for it. And what, with the investigation, what's some of your favorite equipment to use, Martha?
Oh, my eyes and my ears.
Common sense, see? You don't find that much anymore either.
Eyes and ears, and then sometimes we set up our cameras, and then we have, of course, somehow I accumulated a whole lot of different types of EMF meters, And so we may sometimes have 2 or 3 different types in the same area. I like to use the motion detectors. Really not a lot of super fancy stuff, but your basic stuff, along with those EMF meters, we've got the tri-field meter, we've got the Mel meter, and the cell sensor, and the K2, and just a whole variety of them. And some of them we just kind of use them as tools, not as something to say, yes, this is it. It's like using a portable breath test on the streets with an officer. That's just a tool. The real one is back at the sheriff's department with the breathalyzer. So we use those. The cameras are good. Sometimes I'll use a Polaroid camera. Sometimes I use a regular 35 millimeter.
Good.
Not just digital. We may use an old timey cassette recorder besides a digital recorder. I used to get a lot of things many, many years ago with just my old Sony 8 millimeter camera. And it's amazing the stuff I used to get at one particular place. I get things every time I went. And so sometimes I go back to the old basics. It just depends on where we are. Sometimes we set the cameras up. Sometimes we don't. And can't set them up if we're going to be outside because we need electricity for that.
And it seems like you have your ducks in a row for false positives and things. You're using both film and digital. I love that. Analog and digital both in perfect harmony. They really do work well together. And congratulations to Brenda in chat. She won a copy of Martha's book. You guys stay tuned. We come back. We're going to talk more about some equipment and how Martha does the reveal. Does she just leave the client high and dry, say, hey, thanks for the evidence, got to go? Or does she do something different? All that's coming up next. Haunted Voices Radio, letstalkradio.net. Stay tuned.
We interrupt our scheduled programming to bring you the following conspiracy theory. Humpty Dumpty was pushed. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk. Shopping, dining, beautiful lakes and rivers, and a monster? Welcome to Braxton County, West Virginia. Centrally located, Braxton County, West Virginia is the ideal place to visit. Natural beauty and recreation abound with 2 beautiful lakes for easy kayaking and canoeing, and many hiking trails. Did we mention the Flatwoods Monster? That's right. Visit Braxton County, West Virginia's Flatwoods Monster Museum and not only learn about the Flatwoods Monster, but walk in the same footsteps as the people who witnessed it. Nearly all of our attractions can be found within a few miles of Interstate 79. Visit us online at braxtonwv.org. That's braxtonwv.org. Braxton County, West Virginia. Center yourself here. There are thousands of health and beauty products on the market these days, but how many can you say are truly natural? The name says it all. And Naturally by Darla is here to humbly serve, guide, and help to heal all individuals seeking a more natural way of living. NaturallyByDarla.com provides a wide variety of products and services like essential oils, soaps, balms and salves, powerful mists, and ancient healing techniques. Curious yet? We thought so, and invite you to visit our website, naturallybydarla.com, or call 847-334-1580. That's 847-334-1580. naturallybydarla.com. Humbly serving for over 10 years. Naturally. Real people and not pre-recorded and regurgitated radio. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
Minutes past the hour. Haunted Voices Radio Live. Let's Talk Radio.net. Those of you just tuning in from afar, don't worry. If you missed the first part of the program with Martha, we have everything archived for you. About 30 minutes after the live broadcast, we'll get everything submitted to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Music, and of course you can listen right there on the website, letstalkradio.net. Just give us some time to button some things up there and we'll have that release for you. Because we understand it's a live broadcast. A lot of you have just busy schedules, things going on. That's why we archive everything for you. And you can listen to all of those archives free of charge. That's just the way it goes. Subscribe for free. We're talking with Martha Mad Dog Decker. And man, does this hour fly by. Congratulations once again to Brenda in chat. She won a copy of Martha's book. And we were talking about equipment before the break. Now, this is the last segment here. It's a short one. So what we're going to do is kind of get into the reveal aspect of the investigation, what Martha does, how she does it different. And, of course, how do you guys do your investigations out there? Let us know in chat. You can log in right there, Facebook, Twitter. Just get in there. Coming up second hour, we've got Linda Hill going to be joining us as well. We're going to be talking some more hauntings, but in her home. That's coming up. And we're going to play some EVP recordings for you at the bottom of the second hour here, so stay tuned. Now, Martha, here we are. The investigation's complete. All the evidence has been gathered, and you take it back to your humble abode, and you're sitting there processing it, analyzing it, going over it with a fine-tooth comb. What's next? Let's say you discover some things. Do you sit down, have a reveal with the client, or do you just say, we'll get them next time?
If we actually find things, I do sit down with them. The main thing I do is I don't want to scare them half to death. I've had some people call me who were absolutely terrified because they had one of those air quote psychics come in and say, it's all demons and they're going to, demons, and they're scared to death. And it was not a real psychic. And you have to, they just left, and then they walked out the door and left them scared to death. What do we do? So not only do we go over what we found, if we did find anything, I will give them a copy of what we found. We will also help them, give them like answers, like results, like what can you do, to fix this if we can figure out what it is. Sometimes you have to go there more than once. I had a house out in quite a ways from here that I've been out there 3 or 4 times now, and she eventually moved from that place. And when I go, I don't really get anything, and I have no doubt that there may be something going on out there, but it doesn't always reveal itself while you're there. I have and I have given them suggestions on what to do. The craziest one I had is our suggestion was for them to stop fighting in the house. A couple, they were fighting, and as they were fighting, they were actually building the negative energy in the house. And so it's like, what's going on, stop fighting. You want to save your marriage, go to marriage counseling. Don't fight in this house, and go see a marriage counselor. So, whatever it takes, if we need, that's why I have that good network. If we say we need a shaman over there, say we need a priest over there, we have the ability to be able to try to give them some more closure and give them some more options, to make the place where it's safe for them to stay there.
I agree.
We don't just blow and go. We're all about the aftercare.
And
more or less. Yeah.
Quick tip, people, if you can, grab your local psychiatrist, get him on your team. You never know. You never know. You may need to sit down, and they may just a quick session is all it takes. I mean, it's just it's crazy out there, Martha. And with the television media the way it is, People are a lot of armchair researchers out there, and they feel because they watched a full season of one program that they're trained researchers. No, you're trained for disaster. It's completely different. That's for entertainment, folks. Do you see a lot of that with the media out there?
Yes.
Do you see a lot of influence?
Yes, I do. They think that everything on the TV shows are real, and I have to remind them that it is for entertainment and that not everything they see is real.
Yeah, I mean, they're there to make you buy what's in between the program. They're there to make you buy those ding-dongs and Little Debbie's and Coca-Cola and all that fun stuff. That's why they're there to keep you in your seat. It's because real investigations are boring, right, Martha? I mean, they can be boring, hours and hours of sitting there.
Extremely boring. And when they do a lot of those shows, they may have spent hours and hours and hours out there, but you only see in that hour 45 minutes worth of what they've done. And while they may pick up some actual stuff, it's not all real.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind. And, that's television. That goes for radio here. I mean, look at us. We run advertising during these breaks. That is how a station supports itself. The same thing with a television network. Same thing. It's all about advertising and putting the program in between there to entertain you enough to where your eyes are glued to it. That way they know, that's called a demographic. They know your age. They know what your income level is. All these different things. These Nielsen ratings, folks, it's serious. Your privacy's gone. You might as well just give that up. It's gone. And that's why they have these programs on there. They're no different than watching Dr. Phil or anything else. It's all about advertising. It really is. And it's sad, but that's just the nature of the beast. And that's how it goes. That's why people like Martha are so important out in the field, because they can sift through this. And now that you've heard this program, you'll be able to sift through this as well. It's important. Hopefully you took some notes. And Brenda's got the book to prove it. So Brenda, when you read that, come back. Let us know. Let us know if it helped you at all. It's real important. But Martha, we have just a few minutes here left. My goodness, time flies by. Go ahead. The mic is yours. Get out your website, your book, anything you want to promote, any events coming up. The mic's yours. Take it away.
Okay. You can, of course, find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. If you want the book, I hate to say don't buy it from the major book dealers, but I have a publisher who's out of business but hasn't declared that. And so they are still selling all of the author's books as ebooks, and and the publisher's keeping all the money. You want a copy of the book, all you have to do is contact me and make a purchase through PayPal. It's not a big deal. So you can contact me direct for that. You can go to marthadecker.com, and from there it has links to some of my other sites. You can go to East Texas Paranormal.com for more of the paranormal activity. Recent books I've done, I just did the foreword for a really good book called Psychic Profiler, that was written by psychic Robbie Thomas out of Canada. And I've done a foreword. He and I have worked on several cases together over the years. He from the psychic angle and me from the law enforcement angle. There's a new book coming out by Teal Gray that's not quite through yet, that's going to be about children in the state of Texas in the workhouses. And I'm going to be writing the forward in that, but I'm also going to be writing about the children in the workhouses over here in my area with that book. And then we have another book lined up after that. On the 28th of this month, I will be in Lexington, Oklahoma, at a bookstore called Anomalists Books and Brews. And that's I believe it's on Main Street. I will be there on the 28th from 2 to 4 to kind of have a real loose, relaxing type of workshop on interviewing people in general and juveniles, and that'll be from 2 to 4. And I think that's about it right now that I can think of.
Wow. And that worked out perfect because we have one final quick question for you. Wendy is asking from chat, what percentage of her investigations turn up actual spirit activity?
A small percent.
Makes sense.
A small percent. It's not every investigation turns up something. Even when I go and I'm pretty sure there's activity. But I'd say probably 75% of the people that call me initially, it's not paranormal, and we're able to figure out over the phone what's going on.
Good for you. Martha, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you back on the show, and of course we're going to have you back again. And wow, the information you put forth, a lot of great info for people. You've taught them a lot. Thank you so much for taking time out of that busy Mad Dog schedule to come on here and inform us this evening. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it.
You are most welcome. You take care, hon.
Thank you.
And there she was, Martha Decker. MarthaDecker.com, that's the website. And congratulations once again to Brenda in chat. She won a copy of her latest book there. You're going to love that, Paranormal Profiling. Good stuff. Take it to heart. Right now is going to be your latest news, so it's important you listen to that. You never know what could happen out there in the world. But coming up next, second hour, we're going to be discussing haunted home, a haunted home with Linda Hill. She's going to be joining us here. And we're going to play some of her EVP capture as well at the bottom of the second hour. Very, very, very interesting stuff. More ghostly activity coming on. Join us in chat, letstalkradio.net. Log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest, because Linda will also be giving away a copy of her book to a lucky chatter. But you have to be in chat to win. Let'sTalkRadio.net. More Haunted Voices on the way. Stay tuned. Here's your latest news.
In a world of many voices, there's just one that needs to be heard. Yours. Join the conversation at letstalkradio.net.
Apology again. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The head of Facebook says sorry on Capitol Hill for the data breach that's affected millions of users.
Zuckerberg told lawmakers that Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company, but he admitted the social networking site has made mistakes.
My top priority has always been our social mission of connecting people, building community, and bringing the world closer together. Advertisers and developers will never take priority over that as long as I'm running Facebook.
It is possible that Facebook could face record fines for the data of 87 million users being compromised.
Fox's Carol Zimmer. Mark Zuckerberg will appear before a House panel tomorrow. The White House weighing options on how to respond to the latest chemical attack in Syria.
As the president considers what type of response he will impose on Syria for the weekend chemical weapons attack on civilians, he's talking to several U.S. allies. White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders.
We've had a number of conversations, both the president with President Macron, Prime Minister May, and at various other levels, not just with those countries, but others at an administration level.
The administration is said to be discussing with allies whether they would participate in a retaliatory strike. The USS Donald Cook, a guided missile destroyer armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles, is currently in the eastern Mediterranean.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. This as a senior Russian lawmaker says a U.S. strike in Syria could trigger a direct clash between Russia and the U.S. Vladimir Shamanov, the head of the Defense Committee in the lower house of Russia's parliament, said a U.S. strike in Syria could hurt Russian servicemen and trigger Russian retaliation. Fox News, fair and balanced. Opening arguments today in the Bill Cosby sexual assault retrial, where the defense took aim at what they're calling the greed of accuser Andrea Constand.
Cosby's lead attorney, Tom Mesereau, called Constand a con artist who targeted his fame and money. She alleges Cosby drugged and molested her in 2004. Mesereau says a more than $3 million settlement was exactly what she wanted. Cosby spokesman Andrew Wyatt said to him the evidence seems clear.
Look at the settlement agreement and you look at the plan and how long it took Dakota report.
Prosecutors did call a sexual assault expert to testify about tendencies of victims to not report abuse and even keep contacting their abusers. Jurors also heard today from the first of other Cosby accusers allowed to testify. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Monster Energy will stay on board as the sponsor of NASCAR's Premier Cup Series for now.
Monster Energy and NASCAR agreed Tuesday to extend their sponsorship agreement through next season, but the racing body's COO Steve Phelps says don't expect that to go beyond 2019.
I think it would be highly unlikely that they would come back. Both NASCAR and Monster, I believe, are on the same page on that.
That's because NASCAR is looking at bundling its top sponsorship packages with the sanctioning body to include the tracks and television partners, and possibly will not include the series naming rights as has been used in the past. NASCAR has had 3 title sponsors for its premier series: Winston, Nextel, which would rename to Sprint, and Monster Energy. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
One of the 3 women who escaped a Cleveland home after being held for a decade has revealed she got married. Michelle Knight announced on Dr. Phil she married in 2016. The episode slated to air later this month. The 36-year-old was kidnapped in 2002 by Ariel Castro. The 3 women escaped in 2013. Castro hanged himself in prison after being sentenced to life. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Coming soon with your support. Preacher 6 is a small-town preacher that is summoned to the big city where he ends up fighting evil in a literal sense. The characters that he meets along the journey are something special and unique. They could all have their own films made about them. If you like original content that is driven by action and amazing writing, you must support the film Preacher 6. No remakes, redos, sequels, or do-overs for us. Let's take film back. If you like Quentin Tarantino-type films, then you will love Preacher 6. Preacher 6 is like Taxi Driver meets Sin City meets The Prophecy. So please be a part of something awesome. Sometimes darkness just needs a few well-placed bullets. Preacher 6. Support this new film at Indiegogo.com and search Preacher 6. That's Indiegogo.com, Preacher 6. Support it and let's take film back. Let'sTalkRadio.net.
Top of the hour, Haunted Voices Radio Live, Let'sTalkRadio.net. Those of you just joining us, welcome to the second hour. And if you missed the first part of the show, don't worry. About 30 minutes after this live broadcast, we will get it to the different mediums that we syndicate to: iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, and of course, you can listen to all the episodes right there at letstalkradio.net. Simple. Just click on Haunted Voices or any of the other programs there, and you'll be able to tune in and listen to all the past shows. Everything's right there, free of charge for you. And this hour, oh my goodness, the ghostly discussions continue. Now, I have been waiting and waiting for this because we're going to be playing some EVP coming up here at the bottom of the second hour. But Linda Hill, get this. According to her quote, some people think I'm channeling stories from ghosts at my haunted house, says Linda Anthony Hill, author of The Anchor is the Key, which will be giving away a copy of that this evening to a lucky chatter, and owner of Hill House Manor, a world-famous haunted house in Gainesville, Texas. She says, I think that might be part of it. When I start writing, it's hard to type fast enough to keep up with the words flowing into my head. Now, Linda Hill lives in North Texas near the Red River. She became interested in the paranormal after the couple bought a house in 2004 that turned out to be haunted. She has written many ghost stories and even 2 children's books. That's probably up my alley. But The Anchor is the Key is her debut novel. Welcome to Haunted Voices Radio, Linda. It is great to have you.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
My goodness, where to start with you? I mean, you live in a haunted house. There's, you're getting some all kinds of activity from there. Amazing.
Okay, well, first, I don't live in Hill House Manor. I wouldn't live in Hill House Manor. Nobody lives there.
Okay, no one lives there. You just own it.
Right.
But you go there.
We bought it as an investment property. It's a triplex, or it was a triplex. And 2 of the units were rented, and 1 of the units was storage.
Okay.
It doesn't even have electricity.
Okay.
And what we found after 2 years was that no one lasted there more than 6 months.
Yikes.
They would move. Yes. Which for a rental property, that's not a good percentage out of a 12-month lease. In fact, when we went through the records, no one had lasted in the upstairs unit more than 2 months. And the downstairs unit had one person had lasted 6 months. Everyone else had left earlier than that.
Okay, then let's get into this part. Who haunts? Who haunts it?
Well, that's another funny story. This isn't your run-of-the-mill haunted house. There is no story. There is no, this one haunts it because of this. There's just this constant flow. I had one psychic, John Capello, tell me that they come through there sometimes by the hundreds.
Whoa.
He said, this is just amazing. He took a psychic group that he runs in Dallas. He brought them up to Gainesville for a lesson, basically. And I don't know that he had been there before himself, but we were talking during a break, and he just couldn't get over it. He said, Linda, they're coming through here by the hundreds.
So do you think there's maybe a vortex or a portal or something in there?
A lot of people believe that. A lot of people have told me that there's at least one. And then other people have told me that the whole house is like a portal. We did discover a couple of years ago that what we thought was a cistern under the house, in the middle of the house, is a well. And we discovered that it's a live well. There is water, there's potable water under the house.
And we all know what happens when water's involved. It's a conduit.
Right. And this is fresh water. I mean, we have drawn water from this well. We have had it tested. It looks like city water. It's that clear. You would expect it to be murky or something, but it's clear, just like came out of the tap. And the tests, they said they would probably boil it first, considering that it came out of a well, but there's nothing wrong with the water. It's totally drinkable.
My goodness. So it's like an aquifer underneath there, which it's kind of like a spiritual generator generating this activity. So you're getting hundreds come through there at times. What are some things that have happened? What are some things that the people that have stayed there, what have they reported happened to them?
Oh, I have a whole book on that.
I bet.
No, seriously, I put a composition book out. When we first started, I put this book out and I said, just sign your name so I can keep up with who's been here. And they did that for like a page or two, but then people started taking up a few sentences worth of the book to tell what had happened to them. And after a while, they started writing paragraphs, and there's a couple of whole pages of descriptions of what has happened to them while they were there that night. And it ranges from everything to things disappearing, and everybody in the house looking for it. Nobody can find it, and then boom, there it is where it was in the first place. We've got video but there's no video of it happening.
Right. That's always the case.
There's cameras going all over the place, but no video of what happened there. And that happens all the time over there. You will put something down, literally put something down while you're working on a project, reach for it, and it is gone. And it might be where you can see it, but it's out of reach. You couldn't have put it down where it is.
Wow.
and be working on the project you're working on, like whether it's plumbing or, whatever. There's a lot of work going on in this. It's a very, very old house. It's probably, we know we have it on a map in 1883. It shows up on a map in 1883, and it's in its third generation by then. It started as a one-room house. Instead of adding on to it, they brought in another one-room house and joined the two together. So we have two histories going on there. Then they added a third room, and that was the point at which they put it on this map. So when I say 1883, you have to go back a few years before that. It was probably one of the original houses in the county, because this county was formed in 1858, I believe. Well, 1842, it was actually declared a county, but it didn't have a courthouse and everything until like 1858.
So you're dealing with some massive activity here. You have activity tied to the land, not to mention the homes that were brought in.
Right.
Coming to there, is there a mixture of intelligent activity and residual activity, or is it more one than the other?
It's more intelligent than residual.
I can see that.
In fact, there's very little residual. Most of it's intelligent. They'll communicate with you. They'll come up and sit on your lap or grab you by the arm. But there have been a few people get scratched. In fact, we had a woman in the last few months that she had gotten scratched twice during the evening, and she'd had enough. She said, I'm leaving. I'm going home.
She's gone.
And she was wearing boots. I mean, this is Texas. She was wearing boots that came up to her knees. And as she was leaving, she felt something under the boot on her leg. So she stopped and pulled off the boot, and she had been scratched.
Ooh.
Right.
Now, I mean, has anything malevolent ever happened in there? Was there any murders or suicides or bad relationships, something that you're aware of that happened?
Well, the house is over 150 years old, so it's possible. It's possible. There is a legend that says it was a speakeasy during Prohibition.
Ah.
And so it's entirely possible that quite a few things happened in the house.
My goodness.
That were unsavory.
I can't even imagine. I mean, as far as teams, do you let them in there to investigate? How many have been through there?
Hundreds.
Now, do you find that when they go in there and do the full investigation, does the activity increase at all?
Sometimes. I do believe that the activity has increased over the years because people come looking for this. They get more of it. There will be the occasional evening where nothing happens. Nothing more than maybe getting an EVP. And then there's other nights and days when things will happen just boom, 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 boom. I think I just listened to your interview with Martha.
Mm-hmm.
And Martha has her investigation style, which is doesn't get much better than Martha. And then there are others that come in with a completely different attitude from that. There's probably a higher percentage of less professional teams. I've had teams that would call me a week or two in advance and do the interview that Martha's talking about doing, but do it over the phone because they're coming in from, 5 or 6 hours away.
Right.
I will tell them, you're not coming to confirm that it's haunted. You're coming for your own reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know there's activity here.
Yeah, there's
whether
nothing to
you
prove.
get any or not, we know it's active. And they will still say, well, I have to do this interview and I have to do, we have to do it by the book. So there are teams out there like that.
Okay. And it sounds like the majority of them are more of a hunter And not a researcher. They're out there for the thrill, maybe enthusiasts.
Yes.
Out there to get scared or see something, or that they haven't.
I see a lot of that.
They haven't reached that level of, okay, I see the apparition. Now I want to know why I see it. They haven't crossed that level yet. Okay. And that could create a lot of bad activity in there. I mean, that can really shake the spirits up.
It could, but we have a lot of protection in place.
Good.
We have, how do I call it? We have people watching over the place. We have spirits watching over the place.
Guardians. Mm-hmm.
Guardians, exactly. And I have one psychic who has told me that I am a guardian.
Good.
And so I'm guarding them, and they're guarding us and the house, and it all works out. We get very, very little negative activity. The scratches, they don't happen often.
Well, I've got a question that just came in from Twitter, at WGOGDB, by the way, folks, if you're listening. They're wanting to know if there's any demons there because of the scratches.
You know, somebody told me that if they scratch, it's a demon. Well, who made that rule?
Right.
I want to meet this person that knows that if it's a scratch, it's a demon. We don't invite demon hunters into the house because I believe in the law of attraction, which states that what you put your focus on is what you get. So if you go looking for demons, you're going to find them. So we don't go looking for demons. We go looking for spirits that want to communicate. Granted, some of them have a sense of humor, and some of them have a spiteful sense of humor.
Yeah, some of them are a little cranky. They're just a little cranky. And more of that, we come back. We're just scratching the surface on this, folks. No pun intended there. No pun intended. Join us in chat. Let'sTalkRadio.net. Log in through Facebook, Twitter. Just get in there. If you have any questions, post them in all capital letters. We'll get those over to Linda as well. You guys are doing fantastic. We got more great stuff on the way. Some EVP coming up this segment as well. More with Linda Hill when we come back. Stay tuned. Haunted Voices Radio.
Absolutely, positively has to be the best. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk. Shopping, dining, beautiful lakes and rivers, and a monster? Welcome to Braxton County, West Virginia. Centrally located, Braxton County, West Virginia is the ideal place to visit. Natural beauty and recreation abound with 2 beautiful lakes for easy kayaking and canoeing, and many hiking trails. Did we mention the Flatwoods Monster? That's right. Visit Braxton County, West Virginia's Flatwoods Monster Museum. And not only learn about the Flatwoods Monster, but walk in the same footsteps as the people who witnessed it. Nearly all of our attractions can be found within a few miles of Interstate 79. Visit us online at braxtonwv.org. That's braxtonwv.org. Braxton County, West Virginia. Center yourself here. Coming soon with your support. Preacher 6 is a small-town preacher that is summoned to the big city where he ends up fighting evil in a literal sense. The characters that he meets along the journey are something special and unique. They could all have their own films made about them. If you like original content that is driven by action and amazing writing, you must support the film Preacher 6. No remakes, redos, sequels, rebuttals or do-overs for us. Let's take film back. If you like Quentin Tarantino-type films, then you will love Preacher 6. Preacher 6 is like Taxi Driver meets Sin City meets The Prophecy. So please be a part of something awesome. Sometimes darkness just needs a few well-placed bullets. Preacher 6. Support this new film at Indiegogo.com and search Preacher 6. That's Indiegogo.com, Preacher 6. Support it, and let's take film back. Terry Lovelace is a 64-year-old retired lawyer and former assistant attorney general. The earliest alien experience Terry can recall was when he was 8 years old. Incident at Devil's Den. In May of 1963, he saw a UFO and described it as a perfect silver disc. 3 years later, on a clear night, he saw a second flying disc outside his second-story bedroom window. Incident at Devil's Den. In 1975, while serving as a medic in the Air Force, he witnessed yet another UFO hovering 50 feet over an ICBM missile silo. Incident at Devil's Den. 2 years later, while he and a friend were camped in an isolated state park known as Devil's Den, Terry had a life-changing fourth encounter. Not only did Terry and a friend witness an estimated 5-story high UFO, but this fourth encounter would be an epic, life-altering event. Incident at Devil's Den by Terry Lovelace. Digital download or paperback now available on Amazon. Let's Talk Radio would like to remind you that if at first you don't succeed,
I got it.
Don't try skydiving. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
24 minutes past the hour. Of course, you are tuned in to Haunted Voices Radio Live. Those of you just joining us from abroad, I see you trickling in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're talking with Linda Hill. And this home, this building, and everything that's been through it is amazing. I can only imagine how thick the tension may get in there at times when you have botched research teams going in there. Those thinking, okay, I've got a brand new polo shirt, I know how to do this. No, not the case. Not the case, folks. Now, you have to have some experience when you're going into any of these areas. Private investigations, businesses. Don't just, and we touch on that first hour, don't just go by what you see on television, folks. It can really get you hurt. And most of all, it can hurt your client that you're doing this for. You can scar them for life. So just be aware of that. But we're discussing the different types of hauntings in there, things that have happened, people that have left early, this, hey, I'm out of here, this is going on. They've been scratched, touched, and all kinds of things in this home. So it's definitely an active area. I think that has been proven a couple times over. Now, what we have here, Linda, we have some actual recordings. Now, this is from the home, right? The manor?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
They're each of the recordings is by someone different. I don't do any investigating whatsoever. I didn't know there was such a thing as paranormal before we bought this house.
Oh.
I don't even like scary movies, and I don't watch any of the programs on TV about ghost hunting because it scares me.
Yeah, I can definitely understand. I can understand.
But, you know, when you're presented with a haunted house, you just have to make do with, you know, what you have. Anyway, these were all recorded by different teams at different times. And I cannot tell you right now exactly when each one was recorded.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. We're going to cover these, and of course she's going to explain them the best she can. And also pay attention, because this segment we're also going to be giving away a copy of her book. Now, those of you that are in chat will stay there, because that's where we're going to be having the contest here. She's going to be giving away a copy of The Anchor is the Key. This is a print copy, so pay attention to what's being said, and then the contest will commence there in the chat room. And those of you just tuning in, wanting to get into chat, just go to letstalkradio.net and just click on the live chat button. You'll get right in there, no problem. Now, this first one we have here, Linda, it's called Come Here, Come Now. You want to explain this one?
Well, that's what we hear. A lot of the EVPs at Hill House sound like someone is holding the microphone and whispering into it.
Okay.
That's how close it sounds. And that's the way this one is. And it's someone is talking, and then they're almost finished talking, and you hear, "Come here." And then there's a stretch of silence, and then you hear a whispered "now." And someone starts talking again. So you really have to listen, because they're talking on top of each other.
Okay. And what we're going to do is the traditional 3 times here. We're going to play this 3 times here for you. Now, this is going to be in the auxiliary deck, so it will be a little bit louder for you folks. Don't worry, it's not going to blow your eardrums out. But it is a little bit louder. That way you're able to hear the capture. So here it is.
People love cards. What was that? What? I feel like someone just opened the door or something. It was nothing. Okay, I'm ready. You are. People love cards. What was that? What? I feel like someone just opened the door or something. It was nothing. Okay, I'm ready. You are. People love cards.
That is a great capture.
I thought so.
This is, you can hear the frustration in that spirit's voice. It just drags. Now, it just drags on. I wouldn't say it's malevolent. It's just maybe very persistent.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Okay, this next one we have queued up here. It's entitled Body Parts. Do you want to explain that one?
Wish I could.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember it, and I don't.
That's okay. We can.
Maybe it says body parts. I'm not sure. Or maybe it starts naming body. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's listen and find out.
Yep, we'll roll it, and you guys let us know what you think in chat.
I don't get it. But then there's also no chimney. You have 2 fireplaces and no chimney. So things have changed a lot over the years.
Me talking, and I was talking about the fireplace or the chimney or something.
Yeah, we have got to roll that one again. That was, pay close attention to that. Definitely a male voice there.
I don't get it. But then there's also no chimney. You have 2 fireplaces and no chimney.
Wow. Yeah, that was a male voice, definitely saying body parts. That was blatantly obvious.
And it's like they're right on the mic.
What do you think that would mean? Do you have any idea what that would mean? Is maybe there's body parts of somebody around or something?
Oh, I don't. Well, there is a chimney that's closed off. We haven't opened that can of worms yet, and we've been doing this for over 10 years. But there is a fireplace upstairs that is sealed off, and it has a gas pipe coming out, so you would think that they sealed it off and put the gas pipe and put a gas heater there. Mm-hmm. But that's what we assumed. So we bought a gas heater, and there's no way to get to the pipe to attach the gas heater.
Oh.
It's too far back in the wood to unscrew it and screw on a hose to go to the heater. Which makes it seem a little suspect that it's closed off. But again, that's a can of worms we just haven't wanted to open yet.
I can understand. That could be a very wiggly can of worms right there. I completely understand.
Right.
This next one we have ready here to go in queue is entitled Latch It.
Now that one, I'm giving a tour, and part of the tour, and these spirits have heard me give the tour literally hundreds of times. And there's a point where I'm showing off this door that latches itself. If I leave it unlatched, I will come back and it will be latched. So I always tell everyone to leave it unlatched and see if it gets latched during the course of the investigation. And in this one, right before I say it likes it latched, someone whispers, latch it. So that's this one. And I consider this a Class A.
Okay, and before we air this one, we have a quick question coming from chat. Brenda's asking, would you consider opening it ever?
I don't know. I don't know.
Bring Detective Martha along.
I know. Martha's been to my house several times. She loves it because she's not having to be the investigator that she usually has to be. She can cut loose and have a little fun in this house, and she does. She comes, from time to time. Anyway, would I open it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it could open up way too many things. I mean,
yes, it really could. The ceiling or the chimney has fallen in. There is a fireplace below this fireplace that is still a fireplace. I don't even know how that works, except we don't use it. Somebody has used it, and we have never cleaned it out, but it has ashes in it. But what if we did find body parts, I mean bones, then would we have to get the city involved?
Yeah, that would reopen a cold case. It'd be a crime scene, and it would be a mess.
We try to fly below the radar,
Yeah, let them lie.
This city doesn't like the idea that it's haunted in the first place. It's not like Jefferson, Texas, where they celebrate it and ask people to come in for ghost tours and ghost hunts, and I mean they love it. They have bed and breakfasts all over town that boast about their haunted rooms and accommodations. But this town, Gainesville, is not as receptive to the idea, and they are every bit as haunted as Jefferson.
Wow.
I mean, the shops in the downtown, it's an old downtown, and most of the shops have their own spirits. I mean, I've been through the shops myself, and they're there. Anyway.
Some things are best left untouched.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
That being said, let's get to this latch it. Now, we're going to roll this 3 times here, folks. Let us know what you think in chat. For some reason, the broadcaster does not like that one.
That's too bad, because that's a really good one.
Yeah, and normally I have those all set and ready to go. And that one, let me try it somewhere else here. Not all hope is lost. Welcome to live radio. Welcome to live radio.
Well, we used to do a live stream on Friday nights at Hill House, and the technical difficulties that we would run into there, if one thing was working, something else wasn't. Constantly, always, there was technical difficulties. We participated in the world's largest ghost hunt last September, which I don't know if you heard about it, but am I on air?
Sure. Yeah, we're live.
Okay. Okay. This was an effort that teams around the planet participated in, so that some teams were participating at 3 o'clock in the morning and others were participating at 8 o'clock at night, but they were all participating at exactly the same time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. They were all participating in this. They were all streaming to a central location, which was then broadcasting it out. And you could go to this location and go to whichever location you wanted to on the website to watch the live stream. And this was planned for months and months in advance, and everything had been worked out, and they had a special streaming service that was donating the time, and it should have worked. But we ran into technical problems. I mean, imagine that.
Yeah.
Broadcasting from haunted locations around the planet. Mm-hmm. We ran into difficulties almost immediately. And we ended up, at our location, using Facebook. We used Facebook Live.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Absolutely. The show must go on.
That's right. But we streamed that, and at least we got something done with it. But technical difficulties are just something you put up with at a haunted house or any haunted location. They love to mess with electronics.
Or when you're playing with haunted evidence here.
Exactly.
These things happen. What I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and run this manually through the broadcaster here, folks. Let's see if this works. Now, again, this is the EVP entitled Latch It. And no, it did not like it. Don't know why.
Okay.
But we do have another one we can try here. It's entitled Male Scream. Let's give this a shot.
Okay.
Wow, you could definitely hear that in the background.
Yeah, you could. I'm not as impressed with it as I am with the Latch It, but oh well.
Well, I'm actually still working on it, so go ahead and continue.
Okay. Well, I'm spoiled, and I have been for years. People will send me EVPs that they've captured at Hill House Manor. If I can't play it on my laptop and hear it, I'm not going any further.
Good for you.
I mean, they'll say, you have to take it into audio, whatever, or something, and you have to crank this up and crank that up. And I'm like, if I can't listen to it on my laptop, you don't have an EVP.
Absolutely.
And I've gotten a lot of criticism for that, but I am spoiled. We get that quality of EVPs at Hill House.
And that's what you want to stick with. That's what's important, is you maintain that quality. I mean, whispers and so forth, you get into that pareidolia, you start hearing things, your mind can only process so many things at once. So it gets down to just weeding through it. The whispers and so forth, no, I mean, they're just not prominent. They're really not something credible. You know, you want your good Class A's, even a good Class B sometimes, if you can at least hear some kind of pronunciation or intelligence behind it, things of that nature. Now, what I've done is I've tried this repair on the file, Linda, and we're going to try and play this for you one more time, folks. Again, this is Latch It.
They don't block this one. Oh, they block it. Yeah. I'm unlocking it. Okay, sometimes you get a latch, behind your screen to latch. Yeah, they like it latch. They don't block this one. Oh, they block it. Yeah. I'm unlocking it. Okay, sometimes you get a latch, behind your screen to latch. Yeah, they like it latch. The ghost locked this one. Oh, it's locked. Yeah, so I'm unlocking it. Somebody do their latch, right? Yeah, they like it latch.
Wow. That is intelligent if I've ever heard it before. Because, I mean, it's like, you know, the banter back and forth about locking it. And it's like the spirit just says, look, latch it.
Yeah, just go ahead and latch it now because I'm going to do it.
Wow. That was really cool. What'd you guys think in chat? Could you hear the latch it at the end, or did you hear something else? You know, let us know. I mean, this is just a scratch of the activity I'm sure you get in there. Has anybody ever captured any kind of photographic evidence in there at all, Linda?
Oh, yes. Lots. If you go to the website, you know, you can see some of the photographic evidence. We have a little girl, we have a cat, we have what some people think is a woman and some people think is a little boy. You know, it's obvious to me that it's a woman, but it may not be obvious to somebody else. Everybody sees what they see. But, I mean, the person I sent this one photo to, I have an expert that I send photos to if I want to be sure that it's not doctored or, you know, something fishy about it. So I sent this off to him, and he spent about an hour looking at it and emailed me back and said that it was a member of the team. And so I sent him, I had happened to take a picture of the team that night, and I sent him a picture of the team. There was only 6 people. And they were all fairly distinctive people, and none of them looked anything like the person in this picture. I said, which of these people do you think that might be? And it didn't take him 5 minutes. He responded with, holy shit. So, I mean, he thought it was a person.
Wow. If we're going to touch more on that when we come back, yeah, keep that in your minds, folks. Keep that in your minds. Yeah, sleep tight tonight. And more with Linda Hill when we come back. Haunted Voices Radio. Stay tuned.
There are thousands of health and beauty products on the market these days, but how many can you say are truly natural? The name says it all, and Naturally by Darla is here to humbly serve, guide, and help to heal all individuals seeking a more natural way of living. NaturallyByDarla.com provides a wide variety of products and services like essential oils, soaps, balms and salves, powerful mists, and ancient healing techniques. Curious yet? We thought so, and invite you to visit our website, naturallybydarla.com, or call 847-334-1580. That's 847-334-1580. naturallybydarla.com. Humbly serving for over 10 years. Naturally.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has delivered a one-of-a-kind reading experience, covering everything from psychics, UFOs, paranormal investigations, and more. To subscribe, visit fatemag.com or call 828-702-3032. That's 828-702-3032. Subscribe and find your true reports of the strange and unknown at fatemag.com.
Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted a Psychic Story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted a Psychic Story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted a Psychic Story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today. Let'sTalkRadio.net.
47 minutes past the hour. You are tuned in to Haunted Voices Radio Live right here on Let'sTalkRadio.net. Get into chat. This is your last chance to get into chat. We got the book giveaway coming up here, courtesy of Linda Hill, of course. And you can get into chat right there at letstalkradio.net. There's a live chat below right there at the lower right-hand corner. Just click on that, log it through the social media or as a guest, however you like, because the giveaway is coming up. Now, we've just had the willies scared out of us here with some of those EVP. My goodness, great captures. Definitely a place that I want to visit here in the near future, that's for sure. Texas isn't too far from Florida. Not too far. This may be something, maybe a live broadcast from there as well. You never know. A lot of great stuff can happen. Now, Linda has graciously offered a copy of her print book for a lucky winner this evening in chat. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to keep this nice and simple. The first person in the chat room to name the title correctly of Linda's book wins a copy of the book. The first person to name the book wins the book. See who's been paying attention here and who hasn't. Now, before the break, we were talking about these EVP captures, the sightings in there, the photographs, how we thought it was a real person. I can't even imagine. That would just give me the willies in itself. But the evidence in this place is astonishing, Linda. There's so much in there. And do you think that the spirits actually enjoy the company? Do you think they like people coming in there?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. In fact, I used to call it Six Flags for Ghosts and Ghost Hunters.
Six Flags for Ghosts. I love it. Now, with this, you have this area where people can come research, hopefully serious researchers only. Don't go in there and stir the mess here, folks. That's just ridiculous. But we do have just a few minutes left in the show. I mean, time has just flown by, so we're definitely going to have you back again. We were talking on the break, getting a 2-hour special together. I can only imagine what you and I can discuss and what you've seen, the stories, all of that. But I want to give you a few minutes here to promote yourself. Website, books, anything you like, go ahead and put it out there. The mic's yours.
Well, thank you. First off, Hill House Manor has a website. It was hacked a couple of years ago, and I'm still rebuilding, but I have quite a few pictures. I think there are some EVPs. It's hillhousemanor.com. Manor is spelled MANOR. So hillhousemanor.com for anything to do with the haunted house. My books you'll find on lindaanthonyhill.com. I know I've been introduced as Linda Hill, and that is who I am, but my books are all Linda Anthony Hill. What else do I have? Twitter, I'm Linda Anthony Hill. Facebook, I'm Linda Anthony Hill. I think I'm somebody different on Instagram, like LAH Vista. And I'm on Steemit. If you've never heard of Steemit, go Google Steemit. This is a platform that pays you to post and to like other people's posts. It pays you in crypto coin, and it's a crypto coin called Steem, STEEM. But it's crazy at first. It's like taking a trip back about 10 years on the internet. It's like a blog, but there's a pretty good paranormal group on Steemit, and it operates in conjunction with something called Discord, which is a chat thing, like a chat room, only a lot of them, and gamers use it. I see Brenda won both.
She did. She got both. She beat Wendy. We almost had a tie, Linda.
Oh, wow.
It's late.
Well, I think you can get to The Anchor is the Key from www.theanchoristhekey.com, too. I have a lot of websites that most of them point to the same place. My children's books, you can find those on my website, my Linda Anthony Hill website. My children's books, one of them is Brandon's Ghosts, and it is the first in a series of chapter books, which means it's for 8 to 10, 12-year-olds, which is an age group that doesn't get a lot targeted to them.
That's about my reading level.
The Magic Treehouse is targeted at that level. Anyway, it's about a little boy who's afraid of ghosts, and he ends up not being so afraid of ghosts, and he ends up forming a team eventually, and it's a whole series. But only the first one is published at this point. The second book is with an illustrationist right now, and we should have that published in the next 3 or 4 months, I would think.
What a great thing to do for children. That is amazing. Thank you for that. You don't hear too many people doing that. It's preparing them.
Yes. Well, it happened because my grandson was afraid of ghosts. He was, and he knew that Gigi, I'm Gigi, not Grandma, Gigi had a haunted house. Gigi and Papa had a haunted house. And that scared him. And I said, well, I can't have my grandson scared of that.
Right.
So I wrote this book. And he loved it. Just ate it up. And it made him feel better about the whole idea of ghosts and hauntings. It encourages children to look at things critically, to ask, what could it be other than a ghost? Is it possible that it's something that can be explained?
What an amazing thing to do for a child. Great
but
job.
In the end, there is a ghost.
Yeah, but he's at peace with it. He's not frightened anymore. That's amazing. That's great that you did that. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And Linda, I can't thank you enough for coming on here tonight. We're definitely going to have you back here. You and I, we've got to coordinate some kind of special here because you have got a lot of cool things going on there. And I tell you what, the next time I'm in the area, I am going to look you up. It's not that far. Not that far at all. Good stuff. Thank you so much for coming on here. And, of course, you just made the audience smile from ear to ear as well. You're a great person. Thank you for everything.
I enjoyed being here.
All right. You have a fantastic week.
Too.
And there she was, folks. Linda Anthony Hill. And congratulations to our winner this evening, Brenda. Good job. You got both books. Just send your contact info to me, Todd Bates at letstalkradio.net, and we'll get those over to our guests so you can get your prizes there. And I want to let everybody know, tomorrow night, live, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, you have got Paranormal Experience with host Kat Hobson. And it doesn't stop there. Friday night, you have got Ghost Talk with 187 PI, followed by Fate Radio, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and you've got a Gang of Girls Radio on Sunday nights, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Don't forget Surviving Evidence at 8 Eastern, Monday nights. Plus, you've got John Tobin with Keeping the Spirits Alive at 8 Eastern, right here before Haunted Voices Radio. You guys have been a phenomenal audience. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to listen to tonight's live broadcast. Give us about 30 minutes. We'll have it up there on the archives for you. You can find it on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play Music, or right there on the website, letstalkradio.net. Just search Haunted Voices. That's simple. Have a good week, folks.